Well, thank you, Lisa, for that warm welcome and for this lovely medal. There's only one problem with it. It will encourage the belief in my grandchildren that I was, in fact, one of the earliest graduates of the school. I haven't yet seen Harry Weber's work, but I know that he's acclaimed. I hope that he has sacrificed a bit of his integrity as an artist to the cause of charity. One of my colleagues, or one of my classmates, said, well, you know, it's a bas-relief. They're not going to show your best side. I could have expected no less. Actually, I am hoping that this bas-relief is recompense for the film that you saw only snippets of. For those of you who were not present, you've been spared, mercifully, the comments of those who introduced us. Each one of us had a classmate assigned to roast us. So I have hoped that this would be recompense for the roast. The interesting evening, and it was interesting in many ways, totally disproved the old truism that nobody loves a smartass. Janet Lane clearly disproved it. She married Dan. But what I must tell you is that the affection and the enormous admiration which Tom Eagleton set forth in that wonderfully eloquent discussion of Mr. Hecker just about brought tears to my eyes at the time, and it does when I watched it again tonight. It was an extraordinary speech from someone who felt deeply about this school, and it reflected my own feelings. It reflected an appreciation of the privilege that was mine and of all of the graduates of the Country Day School. Now, I understand that it was a celebration of the fact that CDS at that point had produced 3 sitting senators. However, just to put it into perspective, one of the people on the plane who learned that that's why 3 senators were coming to St. Louis said, that's a hell of a heavy burden for one small school. I will say that it may have been a burden, but not only did CDS wear it gracefully, but I am struck by the merger, and I'm happy, if not surprised, that Tom spent so much time and effort and energy working to bring it about. I think it has been a wonderful change. My sole criticism is the timing. And you can write that off as what it is, the envy of the older generation. Tomorrow, when we are privileged to address the student body, I'm going to tell them that they are remarkably privileged, as were Tom and Jack and I, to go to one of America's truly great schools. I didn't say truly unique. It is unique, I think, and I think Gene Hecker would have thought so too, and Evan Phillips, and Don Webb, and all of those wonderful master teachers, to use Lisa's phrase. They were master teachers. They were extraordinary. And that great tradition goes on. Some years ago, the 6th President of the United States, John Quincy Adams, observed to the young people of his day that they had an obligation, and he defined that obligation very clearly. He said to them, "You have no idea the cost to my generation of preserving your freedom." I hope you will use it wisely. And since that time, several generations of young Americans, including the present, the very courageous generation, have in fact secured freedom at high cost, the highest cost for all the rest of us. When I talk to these kids tomorrow, I want them to know that that's not something that they can take for granted. That, in fact, they have an obligation. They have not only been given the freedom to learn, to become all that they can be, but they have, with that great gift, an obligation. And of course, here in this wonderful school, there are men and women who daily help them to learn the value of their freedom, who tell them that it is important that they acquire knowledge in many fields, and even more important, to learn the value of their freedom, and who will teach them to inquire, to aspire mightily, and to feel the need and pursue the need to give leadership in their own day. And that gift, that understanding of the value of freedom and of education and of the obligations that come with it, is the wisdom that the men and women who teach at this school give to these privileged young people. It is what President Adams hoped for. And I am convinced, as I was in 1983, that there will be outstanding graduates of all of the classes to come in medicine, in science, in business, in public affairs. There will be people who do give leadership, not just to St. Louis, as important as that is. You remember, I've been a mayor. But to the state of Missouri, to the United States, which still has an obligation to provide leadership and freedom to the rest of the world. So I will simply say we were very fortunate in our time to know and to really love what Jean Hecker stood for. And the kids who are going to be in the audience tomorrow, sitting where you're sitting now, are also remarkably privileged. Their horizons have expanded far beyond anything that we could know. And so I will say to them, with great gifts come great obligations. Keep to the traditions of this great school. Use your gifts wisely. I had the privilege of serving with two fine men, graduates of this wonderful school. I had the greatest respect and affection for both. And I know that they would agree. Tom has made it abundantly clear on that evening some 25 years ago that he did understand just exactly how precious the gifts were and that we were obligated to make the most of them. I'm sure these kids will too. I thank you for the honor that you have bestowed. It was an honor to graduate from this school and a relief. Tomorrow I will simply say, you have no idea how much it has cost your parents, your teachers, and those who have secured your freedom to be all that you can be. Please use it wisely. Thank you.